Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, you are watching yet another episode of Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Friday night, and you know what that means. It's time for your WWE, SmackDown, and NXT Level Up Event Center Wrestling Report. And now here's the man to give you that report, Mr. Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. This is episode 1507 of the show. Today is Saturday, June the 29th, 2024, 12:42 p.m. Welcome to the show. I want to thank everybody who have subscribed to the channel. Please tell everyone you know about this channel. Please share my channel to all the social medias that you have out there and said, hey, this guy is cool. He's got good, positive content. Check out the channel. Please do so and tell everybody you know about this channel and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications, okay? Excuse me. Now, SmackDown emanated from the world's most famous arena in the world. That would be Madison Square Garden. And it's also a very significant episode of SmackDown as well because this last night's episode of SmackDown is Kayla Braxton's final night as a member of the WWE roster. That's right. She has decided she has found some projects that she is willing to do and moving on from the WWE. So to this time, I want to thank Miss Kayla Braxton for her contributions in the WWE, whether it be hosting kickoff shows, hosting the bump, interviewing, ring announcing. She has basically done it all in WWE as far as the broadcasting aspect of it is concerned. And they're probably one of the best modern-day broadcast journalists in the WWE today. Now that she is now officially gone from the WWE, we wish her the best of luck. So thank you, Kayla Becker, formerly known as Kayla Braxton. Thank you. And it's a round of applause from me to you. Congratulations. And with your beauty, I believe that you're going to go places. And I hope something good comes out of it. And never forget your WWE family. So, that's very, very important. So, but also the very significant episode, which, this month has been full of stuff that we did not expect to happen. Not just in wrestling, but everywhere, including in my life. It's just a lot of things have happened, and it's just amazing. It's like, if we had a June 2024 bingo card, we probably didn't have this, didn't have that. You didn't expect this to happen, that to happen. So, anyways, the Bloodline arrives at MSG. Paul Heyman asked Sikoa was Jacob Fatu. And then Sikoa didn't say much to him. So I figured Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton and Kevin Owens arrived, and while the Bloodline was about to come out to do their acknowledgement ceremony right off the rip, but Rhodes, Orton, and Owens seemed to be have other plans in mind. They started brawling with the Bloodline, and then it cleared the ring. Aldis and security came after. Nick Aldis and security have to break things up, but then and then I think Aldis wants the trio there of Rhodes, Orton, and Owens to leave the ring. So, but then they got sent in by Aldis. They were attacked by Rhodes, RKO, and KO. Then they addressed the Bloodline, what they're going to do to them at the Money in the Bank. It is going to be a 6-man tag match, but which 3 of the 4 members of the Bloodline are going to be summoning to battle. And then after they had their say, NYPD. They came out, sent in by Aldis, escort them to the front of the building. So, and, escorting them from the building. You know what Nick Aldis should have done, and this is my personal opinion, he should have called on his gladiator teammates from England and said, hey, I need your help, mates. It couldn't get Wolf. Get the Wolf Man. I'm telling you, I think the Wolf Man would have done a better job, making sure that everything is in order. I think Nick Aldis should have done that next time. If your security's going to get beat up by wrestlers, get somebody that can take the hits, like your gladiator friends. In fact, one of them used to be part of the WWE. Mason Ryan, right? He was known as Goliath when he was a gladiator. Come on now. Come on, Nick. Let's get it on, huh? Let's get it going. My goodness. And so Kayla Braxton on her final night with the WWE tries to interview Nick Aldis as he made sure that Owens, Orton, and Rhodes are out of the way. And he says, I can't talk right now. As you know, when you're in Madison Square Garden, celebrities are bound to appear there. Lin-Manuel Miranda, one of the best singers and one of the modern-day singers and actors, is in attendance. And as the Women's Money in the Bank qualifying match, Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae, and Jade Cargill in this triple threat match, excuse me. I don't even watch both WWE and AEW. You screw up your terminology. Anyways, Nia Jax also... Nia Jax decided to arrive at ringside during the matchup, as did Bianca Belair. And then such argues with Nia Jax. And then while that was going, all the referees distracted with Jax and Belair arguing ringside. Indy Hartwell slams Cargill to the post, and that gives Tiffany Stratton an opportunity. Hits her BME, best moonsault ever. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany Stratton is added to the Money in the Bank matchup. So there's that. And then Naomi was getting ready for her matchup for the second Women's Money in the Bank qualifier. Talks to Bayley, and Blair Davenport interrupts and saying that she'll win it, she'll cash it, and she'll challenge Bayley. And so Michin told Nick Aldis she wants Nia Jax. And then Nick Aldis, I'll take that into consideration. And then Street Profits and B-Fab want the bloodline. They say, hey, we want... And then Nick Aldis like, I don't know about this. And listen, everybody's been wanting the bloodline. I'm going to leave them alone. They have their acknowledgement ceremony. But Pretty Deadly interrupts them. And they want Nick Aldis to give them a musical. But Steve Profit says, no. How about beat down? And Nick Aldis is going, that could be a good idea. So Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly next week on SmackDown. That's going to be crazy. Men's Money in the Bank qualifier matchup. Santos Escobar versus LA Knight versus the United States champ Logan Paul. But before that match happened, Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks is in attendance. Paul Heyman was talking to Sokoa about the situation, and he says Jacob Fatu's not here, but we're going to name you as our wise man tonight at the acknowledgement ceremony. And then Logan Paul, before the match, addresses the MSG crowd before the matchup, and Logan Paul has Tyrese Halliburton of the Pacers, whom the Celtics swept en route to their 18th title at ringside. Logan Paul, what the heck do you think? He's a good player and all. But you're sending a guy whose team got swept by the Celtics. Dude, you should have picked better winners, brother. I'm just saying. But then, Paul, Halliburton was trying to get involved in the matchup for Logan Paul, and but Brunson stops him. And then after the matchup, which Knight won, Paul and Halliburton surround Knight, and then Brunson has Knight's back with a chair. And then Baron Corbin was talking to Apollo Crews or Carmelo Hayes, interrupting them. And Carmelo Hayes, basically, he said, he's already thinking that he's won the Money in the Bank. And then Baron Corbin, who knows a thing or two about being a Money in the Bank winner, but did not cash in successfully, tells him, hey, dude, that's, you're putting the cart before a horse and all that, and fine. If I were Baron Corbin, I would have punched Carmelo Hayes in the face if I wanted to. Anyways, it was in Baron Corbin's shoes. I think Baron Corbin is trying to have a new attitude and new change, which I think is pretty cool. And I respect Baron Corbin. I'm not going to make fun of Baron Corbin no more because I have a lot of respect for him. And they had Sika Anoa'i, the tribute to him. As you know, Sika is now known nowadays as Roman Reigns' father. But he was a tag team champion with his brother Alpha as one half of the Wild Samoans, and they were one of the best tag teams in the WWE from back in the day. They were vicious, they were mean, but they were Hall of Famers too, and plus now the legacy of Sika lives through his son, Roman Reigns. We acknowledge Sika as the tribal chief of Roman Reigns' family. Now, but his death could make the bloodline so much more meaningful now, because I'm sure that Sika's probably going to be watching from the stars and go, "Make me proud, family." And, you know, probably behind the scenes, you know, the Samoan wrestling community could be wrestling family as one. They could say, "Hey, let's do this in honor of Sika." And I'm hoping that's, you know, they do that. And I'm sure Sika's proud of Roman Reigns and what he's done. So my condolences once again to Roman Reigns. The reason why I said his death could make the Bloodline Civil War that much more meaningful, you'll probably see the heart of what the Samoan wrestling industry is all about, especially in the families of the Samoan wrestling family member is all about. And Sika and Afa showed that moment. You had the High Chief Peter Maivia, Rock's grandfather. And all I can say is that this Bloodline Civil War, as you know, is going to be the Samoan wrestling dynasty is at the forefront in the WWE right now, and that's a big deal. I mean, that's a total big deal. We could see more Samoan wrestlers, more people added to the WWE, or you know, it could expand in the major organizations between WWE, AEW, and TNA. And trust me on this, it is going to be a huge deal. In the WWE, and everybody's invested in this Bloodline Civil War. It could gets ramped. I cannot go into detail until I can talk about what happened at the end of SmackDown. All y'all watched it, you know what I'm talking about, man. I'm telling you, this is crazy, to say the least. Well, Andrade addresses the Money in the Bank ladder match to Speed, the current WWE Speed champion, has qualified for Money in the Bank. And so this is a huge opportunity for him. And then the second Women's Money in the Bank qualifier. Blair Davenport versus Indy Hartwell versus Naomi. Ryan Clark, was an ESPN analyst, is in attendance here. Jay Cargo gets payback on Indy during the matchup. And Naomi took advantage of the situation and wins the match and has qualified for Money in the Bank. Byron Saxton interviewed DIY as next week they're going to challenge 8-Town Down Under for the tag team titles. Austin Theory interrupts them. He has what he had to say. And then Grayson Waller attacks them, and then he grabs the belts and goes, "Come on." I think Johnny Gargano is trying to convince Austin Theory. Remember, Austin Theory was part of Johnny Gargano's group The Way. So, and he's trying to convince him that Grayson Waller is using him for the belts. And Waller attacks DIY from behind, and then DIY, and it tells, we got to get out of here. Now, Solo Sikoa. The Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony begins. Bloodline comes out, and Solo Sikoa introduces Jacob Fatu to the Bloodline as his new enforcer. Oh boy. And then Solo Sikoa named himself the Tribal Chief. And he asked each and every one of them to acknowledge him. Tama Tonga was the first one. He said, "I love you, and I acknowledge you as my tribal chief." Tonga Loa, same thing. Said, "I love you, and you're my tribal chief." And then Jacob Fatu says, "I love you, and you're my tribal chief." He goes to the wise man, Paul Heyman. "Do you acknowledge me?" And then Tonga Loa pulled out a bag, and it was the reefs, some kind of reef thing, like a necklace that was bestowed upon Roman Reigns by Sika. And all of a sudden, they gave it to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was clutching it. He looked up and he goes, and like apologizing to Sika and all that, probably looking, and he's holding it in his hands. And then Solo Sikoa asks him, "Do you acknowledge me?" Solo Sikoa says, "Acknowledge me." Paul Heyman goes, "Solo, I love you. I acknowledge that you are not my tribal chief." I was like, whoa. I think he was fighting to say that. He was fighting to get that out and be honest with Solo Sikoa. But he eventually let it out. They attacked him. Solo Sikoa hit him with a Samoan spike, and then Jacob Fatu splashes him, and then they decided to powerbomb him through the announce table, Shield style. I don't know what I don't know about you guys out there, but this Bloodline storyline, this is why I believe that it's going to be a very meaningful storyline, because even though Sika's passing, this could make, this whole thing, this whole Bloodline Civil War, it's going to be a fight to the point where it's going to make all the Samoan wrestlers of the past very, very proud. A look at the new generation of the Samoan wrestling dynasty and say, wow, these kids are going to kill it. And these kids are really going to ramp things up and continue the legacy. And believe me, if you get every Samoan wrestling family member involved in this, this is going to be probably the biggest storyline in the WWE today. You have The Rock involved. You could have The Rock involved. Roman Reigns and the Usos could reunite the OG bloodline. That's what we need right now. But this is going to make Roman Reigns' return much more meaningful. And believe me, Roman Reigns will have the spirit of his dad with him. And I'm telling you, this bloodline storyline, man, it is huge. And and Sika has got to be proud. Got to be proud of the whole thing, man. Putting them at the forefront and everything else. And somehow Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton are the only two guys that know what it's like to be part of a wrestling family because they are done that. And that could be the reason why I think that much more meaningful with Rhodes and Orton, because their dads probably wrestled their dads and so on and such forth. It amazes me. It amazes me that the legacy of second, like I said, the second and third generation wrestlers are going to be a huge deal, whether it be WWE or AEW, especially in the WWE, because there's a lot of rich history there, and their fathers had paved the way for the sons. And look at the way Randy Orton's been successful, Cody Rhodes has been successful, Roman Reigns has been successful, The Rock. I mean, I can go on, and this is going to, and the Usos have been successful. This is a huge deal. This Bloodline storyline is just more than just the Samoan wrestling industry. Talk about generational wrestlers and how they became the biggest stars ever. Rock, Orton, like I said, Rhodes, Reigns, the Usos. I can go on, and this Bloodline storyline is going to be a whole lot of fun. And I personally cannot wait to see how this turns out, man. I'm telling you what, I think, like I said, it's going to lead. But it could ultimately lead into the Rock versus Roman Reigns matchup. I think the Rock will probably side with the OG Bloodline for a while, and possibly at the Royal Rumble or something like that next year, or possibly before WrestleMania or something like that, he'll turn against Roman Reigns, and that's when the ultimate match could happen between the Rock and Roman Reigns. Like somebody who organized this new Bloodline, like in the background, and I'm telling you, there's so many things and ideas I can go with this Bloodline storyline that could ultimately lead into next year's WrestleMania Rock and Roman Reigns. Dead serious on this. They want the Rock and Roman Reigns, get a storyline to build up towards it. I'll tell you one thing, this Bloodline storyline is going to be the build up. And it's going to build up to the point, and it'll be something to behold. So, but I never thought I would expect Paul Heyman to have the biggest pop in Madison Square Garden, to be the ultimate babyface in that situation last night. Who would have thought, right? Because Paul Heyman, as Paul Lee Dangerously, he's been a heel manager most of his entire career. He's been a heel, most of the time. I think except for when ACW One Night Stand, when he started dissing everybody from JBL and Eric Bischoff, and I think that's a huge deal too. So. That's crazy. Riley Osborne. Okay, we're talking about NXT Level Up. Riley Osborne took on Jasper Troy. Troy is a big dude. Jasper Troy. Be on the lookout for him in the future. But right now, Riley Osborne is still kept the momentum of Chase U going as he picks up a victory over Jasper Troy. Sarah Schreiber interviewed Jasmine Nix and JC Jane as they have to deal with Kendall Gray. And that match happened, and Nix won that one. And Dante Chen, the gatekeeper, versus a member of the No Quarter Catch crew, Miles Bourne, and Dante Chen ended up winning that matchup. Folks, let me tell you, like I said, that Bloodline storyline, it's going to be fire. It's going to cook hard. It's going to cook hard. Let me tell you. I guarantee you. There's going to be lots of things. Lots of notches to the storyline. Let me tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think with Sika's death, I think, you know, they could do something that is worthy for the point to make Sika proud. And believe me, it's going to be a lot. Like I said, the bottom line is the Bloodline storyline is getting more interesting. And they have yet to add one more player to the field. And, you know, Hikuleo could be on his way to the WWE. When they're going to reveal him, when they're going to actually get him on the to get involved in that storyline, much more to come on that situation. So that's all the time we have on the show, episode 1507 of the show, and we got another episode coming up. Talk about AEW Rampage from last night. So until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home, and Kayla Braxton, thank you.
That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, doing for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with a Raven Bofa Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.